Okay, it's Friday morning, and decided to do one today, alive. Already got an email from Andy Villa calling me a pedophile. Doesn't work because I'm not a pedophile, so I'm not bothered by it. You might as well call me a purple spotted unicorn. I'm not a purple spotted unicorn. It ain't gonna bother me. That's how it works. But I just found out the last day or two that I can actually completely block these idiots on YouTube. Now I don't even get their mentions anymore. So this whole game of Tara Joyce and Thomas trying to get me to actually say something so that they can get my account down isn't going to work anymore because now I don't even see their shit. I don't even see it anymore. With that said, the new game, obviously, this morning, YouTube sent me a message that people have said that they're concerned that I might be thinking about self harming myself. I got this email. Let me go on record. Never will that happen. I will never, ever do anything to hurt myself. Not intentionally, anyway. I might fall down and scrape my knee. I'm clumsy. But I am certainly not into self harm. And if anybody out there is, get a hold of someone. Get a hold of someone. But now they're trying to get my account taken down by saying that I'm telling people that I want to self harm myself. That's not true either. But these child traffickers will do whatever the fuck. They'll say whatever they can think of to cause problems, to cause issues. They want to shut me up. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And so Andy Villa, who I believe is Doug Mesner, sends me this thing, so I just forward it to the cops and investigators. This is what he's doing. They have my yearbook picture when I was 13. Ooh, what it shows is that you're obsessive fucks, is what it is. You know? I'm 58 years old. I haven't been in high school for a long time. I don't know what the point is, but whatever, you know? And Thomas, being a child trafficker or involved with a bunch of people who are involved inappropriately with kids, trying to say that he has the moral high ground makes me want to vomit, to be quite honest. It's This group doesn't have any conception of who they are, you know? Oh, Robert Carlson, another person, you know? This is another idiot. This is a dude who actually is dumb enough to threaten me, so I just forward his shit. The thing that you sent me yesterday or the day before yesterday, I didn't respond to you, dude. I just forward your shit to the police. That's what I do. I forward it to the police and investigators. And something tells me that you guys, your panties are all in a twist. And it makes me smile. It's a bad day to be a child trafficker. This group is going to be exposed. And Thomas can say that, dude, I don't care where you're from. All I know is that you're one weird ass motherfucker and you have no business being around kids. Flat out, you have no reason being kids. You know? And so, but as it is, I'm going to block you now because I'm not really in the mood to play. You have no idea how freaky that dude is. This the stuff that he has sent me in the last few days via email has been just off the charts weird. He's threatening me. He is saying that he's all up on drugs and he's going to come hurt me and blah, 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 blah. Hey, Sherilyn. And so, oh man, threats, constant threats, bizarre. But I don't think the dude knows how to speak. I don't think he graduated. Really, what I think is that it's Doug or one of Doug's butt buddies, Satanic Temple butt buddies. Because Doug is upset. Because I have a feeling that people are starting to look at all of this. I think that they're starting to look at all of it. I think it's actually starting to get looked at. And I know Thomas thinks that that FBI dude now with the crazy eyes is going to save him. But if that dude saves him, it will make everyone wonder why Donald Trump is going out of his way to save a bunch of child traffickers. You know? I don't think even Donald Trump will cross that line. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But, and I don't think my sheriff is going to choose the child traffickers over his own kids. That's why heaven told me to tell him what I did. And I'm not the one making any threats. I told him what God told me. If he thinks that he can protect child killers, when heaven says you have a choice, you either choose the child killers or you choose your kids. If he wants to fight heaven and he thinks he can win, then go ahead, you know? You don't even want to get me. Donald Trump is so far up Putin's ass because Putin has shit on him. Elon Musk is a direct line to Putin. Trump is not trying to save anybody. He's doing Putin's bidding. You know, he's doing Putin's bidding and causing all kinds of harm in the process. You know, if Biden would have had George Soros come in and do the stuff that Donald Trump is allowing Elon Musk, the Republicans' heads would have exploded. But because it's Donald Trump, everyone's just supposed to get over it. And again, Donald Trump's daddy, Fred, was in Hummel Park. So to say that he's not connected to it is just doesn't work. But then I think they're all a bunch of feckless idiots. I don't like the Democrats any more than I like the Republicans. So I don't even want to get into a political conversation, you know? And Donald Trump called himself a dictator. He's the one who said it. Now he's a king, you know? And that's just it. Michael, that's just it. The fact that they have done what they've done publicly for so long raises red flags, you know? That's all right. That's all right. And we can have a political conversation, you know? I'm not one of those people who I have I know this gentleman. He's an older gentleman, works at a grocery store. We talk all the time. He voted for Trump. He knows I didn't vote for Trump. But we're still able to have a dialogue we're still pleasant to each other. We're not attacking each other. I laugh and tell him, well, I don't hold it against you that you're a dumbass. But then I didn't like Kamala Harris either. And so, you know, I I didn't like Obama, didn't like Biden. I really haven't liked any of them, Republican or Democrat. I don't care what little alphabet they identify with. I think they serve themselves. And because they serve themselves, I think they serve their donors. And I think that's true for all of them. They certainly do not serve us. They certainly aren't watching out for people. Not us, anyway. I've been praying a lot. I've been stressed, to be quite honest. I mean, it's been stressful. I think everyone is dealing with that right now. A lot of stress. That's it. They look out for number one, and that's themselves, and that's all of them. But that is what it was written in the end. In the end, we would be served. It would be lawlessness, and we would be ruled by men who served themselves and their own interests. And that's where I think we are. That's the reason why I think it's so important to have faith. With that said, I'm going to pray. I'm going to start. I want to start getting into starting with prayer and ending with prayer. Because at least for me, I think that prayer it helps focus me and it helps calm me down. Yep, Kyle, I am stressed. So let's pray. Heaven, we come to you as your children, and we are in hard days right now. We seem to be caught in conflicting whirlwinds, and it's hard to know which way to go. It's hard to keep our stand in. And it's only when we allow ourselves to take a moment and just allow silence to embrace us, and we can focus on your grace that helps lead us. We're all in this boat together, and so none of us should feel alone. Not that that's so great, but at least we're not alone. And I just ask that you open our minds and our hearts so that we're aware of the grace that is around us. And you guide our steps, and you guide our words, that you guide my words in this live. We are meant to be an inspiration for each other, to help each other see the way and keep on the path. And that's what I'm trying to do today. And you sent your son, our brother, Jesus Christ, to show us, to teach us about the word. And that word is love. And help us fill our hearts with love and be strong and be able to take a stand for that love. We live in a topsy-turvy world right now where they're promoting good as bad and bad as good. And help us not only for ourselves to see the difference and to learn to discern, but help us be an inspiration so that we can lead by example, and others will have the ability to be able to discern as well. You dwell within our hearts. That is where we find you. Whenever we want to search for you, we only have to look there, and there you are. Help us to remember that, and help guide my words today. For those who are compelled to hear, let them hear what I'm trying to say, and not the stress that's underlying. I'm sorry that I'm stressed. It's just the concern that I have, and the attacks have been awful. But I feel like I have your armor on, and help us to remind each other that we are protected. Our souls are protected, our hearts are protected when we focus on you, and especially our brother who came and showed us a way to emulate the word. And we say these things gratefully and lovingly in your Son, our brothers, Jesus Christ. Amen. I have not reached out to JD Delay. Thank you, Sherilyn. I really haven't reached out. I've been helping people in town. Like I said, I did manual labor the other day, and then yesterday I went and did stuff. I didn't feel like I had done anything, but I think what's happening in the Ukraine is wrong. I think what's happening in the Ukraine is wrong. And I think Putin is evil. I think we're being led by a bunch of evil people. Netanyahu, evil. I just don't like what's going on in the world. And I think that God is getting ready to actually deal with it. I think that there's a lot of things are starting to come forward. People are actually taking a stand for each other. I never saw that coming. It's funny because even with all of the chaos that's happening, these days are not without hope, because people are starting. Elon Musk, again, if Biden would have let George Soros do the things that Elon Musk is doing, people's heads would have exploded. It's wrong. It's wrong. And the fact that the dude did a Nazi salute 2 times in a row, Sherilyn, we'll have to talk. I don't know who JD Delay is. And to be quite honest, I've just been trying to just shy away from a lot of this stuff because the stress level is so high right now. Elon is definitely a Luciferian. I have no doubt in that, I think we're being led, by a bunch of bad people who have no concept of God. I don't think Russians are bad. I think you're being led by a bad man, but then what choice do you have? In Russia, if you say anything against Putin, you get thrown out a window. I understand the fear, but I also believe Scripture. Those who will fight to save their lives will lose their lives. But those who stand up for God will find life eternal. And I believe in that. I know it to be true. I think the Russians have been in a bad place. It's all on an individual level. It's never an all or nothing situation. Anybody who says it's all one way or all not one way, the world is rarely black and white. You have to take things on an individual basis and learn to discern. Take each situation and judge it accordingly and weigh it accordingly. It's, and so, I've just been trying to focus on this small stuff because now, like I said, YouTube getting a hold of me today saying, we're concerned because you've been reported that you are talking about self-harm. I was never talking about self-harm, you know? Not that I haven't been there, but it's been years and years and years, and I was in a really bad relationship. It's funny because when you are facing situational depression, you can take all the medication you want and it won't help at all because it doesn't fix the situation. But that situation is over with now. I don't have that same situation. And so my life, even with all of the attacks, even with all of these idiots constantly on top of me, I still have joy in my life. There are still moments of joy. You know, yesterday I had moments of joy, you know, and people who are just, there's a lot of wonderful people out there. There's a lot of wonderful people. And we all have to remind ourselves because the baddies want you to think that everyone is bad, everyone is like them. They want to make themselves out to be so much more than what they are. That's the reason why Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, sent me that email as Andy Villa. I mean, 5 or 10 minutes before I got on here. And I think he wanted to cloud over the situation and kind of dominate my mood. And I'm not allowing that. You know, I'm not allowing that. I think that I don't know what the game plan is for heaven. I just know that everything in my life right now is providence. Even the bad stuff is providence. Whatever's happening is happening because God, heaven, needs me to be in this situation. That's how I feel. And I may not understand it. I may not like it a lot of times. But faith is all about being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see. And I have faith in the good. Many people don't understand, Sarah. And the thing about it is that there's a lot of good people out there who are telling themselves that they're not good. You know, they're deluding themselves that they, you know, aren't good. And so they never allow themselves to believe that they're actually good people and can make right decisions. When you're constantly telling yourself that you're a piece of shit, you're going to do things that are self-destructive because you're busy telling yourself you're a piece of shit. But that's a delusion. You're not a piece of shit. And even if you are a piece of shit, it's not like it's predetermined. It's not like you can't choose something else. Trust me, you can choose something else. You just need to give yourself enough hope. But a lot of us don't have any hope in ourselves. And I think that is a major issue with a lot of us, is that we don't have any faith in ourselves. We love God, love Jesus, all of that. But at the same time, we know that we'll tell ourselves what a piece of shit we are. You know, oh, I'm just an idiot and stuff like that. If you tell yourself that, you're going to act in ways that's going to reinforce that. And so even if you are a piece of shit, tell yourself you're not. Tell yourself that you have the ability to love, that you can inspire people, and fake it till you make it. Choose love. That's right, Sherilyn. Choose love. You know? And the best way, don't speak darkness over yourself. That's right, Sarah. Don't, you know, it's funny how we will tell ourselves things that we would never say to anybody else. We'll tear ourselves apart in a way that, we wouldn't tear other people apart. And that isn't, you know, it's not conducive to a happy life, that's for sure. You know, easier said than done. It is so easier said than done. Okay, no, you're not bothering me right now. Go on. Sorry. They've all gotten to the point now where when I get on here, they think if they bother me, I'll get off here and pay a lot of attention to them, which I do anyway. You know, I'm very blessed. Animals. If you read my book, the thing about it is that's just it, being generous with kindness. And that includes yourself as well, being kind to yourself. You know, it's not selfish to actually have self-care. That's not selfish. You know, if that's all you're focused on, then yeah, they can, but when you find in your life that part of self-care is actually helping other people. That's why yesterday, that's what I did, you know, and I had someone about a year ago who had gotten all of this fabric to make masks. And of course, now nobody wears fabric masks. And so they just gave me all this material, and a lot of it was patriotic. And I'm not, because I've never been in the service, I'm not a big patriotic person. But I am now in the process of making a quilt for Quilts of Valor. And it's for people in the service. It's quilts that I'm donating it so that they can give it to someone who needs it, who is a service member. And I've been trying to go through my fabric stash. I don't have a whole lot anymore, but people, when they have stuff, they end up throwing it to me, and I'm just trying to do it and use it because quilts are kind of a nice thing that people can wrap themselves up in and make themselves feel better. That's why I like to quilt. I'm not even doing artwork right now. I'm more trying to do stuff to make people feel a little bit better about in their lives, because it makes me feel better to make someone else feel better. And so it's, as David Klotz used to say, know yourself, control yourself, and give freely of your time and energy. Doing for others is the most selfish thing you can do for yourself because it all comes back. And I believe that, you know, caring about each other, caring about people, going out of your way to try and help people. Not the making yourself into a doormat or anything, but going out and trying to help people is the most selfish thing you can do for yourself because it always returns. It always comes back. That's the reason why I still do this stuff. And just to let people know in this live, I will never stop trying to investigate and get all of this stuff investigated with this child trafficking. I don't know how to stop. Once I know that it's being taken care of and dealt with, then I'll relax on it a bit. And I'm trying to relax on it now a little bit just so that it's not the only thing I'm talking about. But I'll never stop, you know. I'll never stop. I'll never just let it go. I'll never just turn away and ignore it. And so I did a quilt with flannel shirts and a wool army blanket for the batting, and it's a wonderful way. Oh, that does sound like a really nice. That's a really good idea. I've never thought about using a wool blanket for batting, you know, because wool batting is really expensive. I ended up just making a quilt for myself because I had flannel that I had gotten a year ago. There was a quilts place that went out of business. So I got it super cheap. I think I got like 8 yards of this flannel and I spent $30 at the time. So, and I've been freezing in bed lately because this morning when I woke up, I believe it was 17 below. Now we're having a heat wave. I think I want to go out and lay out in the sun because it's 14 degrees today. That's a heat wave for us right now, you know. And they're saying that there are some places now. There's going to be another polar vortex. They said the wind chill could be 60 below. That's I'm usually a warm person, but my hands and my feet have been cold lately. And if I'm cold, that means a lot of people. Piecing all the different plaids is a lot of fun. I find that doing artwork is it helps with my PTSD. That's the reason why I end up doing it because it gets you out of yourself and focuses on something else. And there's nothing like putting stuff together and having it come together. There's a real sense of accomplishment. And Sarah, we quilter people need to stick together because unfortunately, I think we're a dying breed. You know, there's that's why Joann's is going out of business. And I went down to Joann's. There's not a big the one that's going out of business doesn't have that great of sales. It's kind of like what it usually is. So I'm kind of just waiting. But I have a feeling because the Joann's in Omaha isn't closing, that they're going to end up packing all that stuff up in the Council Bluffs one and shipping a lot of it to Omaha. Hey, Sherilyn, we'll talk soon. You have a great day. Be safe. You know, I do weep for Joann's too. Hancock Fabrics was oh man, I loved Hancock Fabrics. It was my favorite fabric place. And you can tell that this live is just going to be a. I'm tired of focusing on these idiots 24/7. You know, and I woke up this morning and had weird emails from that Robert Carlson, who isn't, that's not a real name. And then right before I came on here, Andy Villa. They're very focused on me, but they're upset because now I've realized I can block. I mean, I can block. I knew that I could block in here. I didn't realize that I could go on YouTube and actually just block people. So I don't even get their mentions anymore. They can mention me all they want and it doesn't come up and I don't have to look at it. Because let's be honest, when it happens, I end up looking at it. I feel almost compelled to see what's saying. And it just causes stress. And it's always BS. It's always BS. The stuff that they say is just ridiculous. But they tried to get my account down last night by saying that I'm threatening self harm. I don't know what I have said that they could justify saying that I was, because I don't believe in self harm, let alone for me, but for anybody else. You know, when I was getting a divorce, I tried something stupid because I was getting a divorce. I thought my life was over. I thought loneliness and being single was going to just kill me. And God obviously watched out over me. And I'm so glad. And I mean, this was what, 14 years ago? This is what I'll tell people. You never know what's coming down the pike. And at the time that I was despairing, I never realized how wonderful my life was going to end up being a year and a half later. You know, I realized that not only did was I not unhappy being single? It's been the best thing. I am so happy being single. I am so happy being single. I'm happy with the choices that I've been able to make in my life. You know, I'm glad that I'm not in the gay lifestyle anymore. I can't tell you. I mean, I haven't been in a gay bar for 10 years when I was married. So we're talking 20 years at least that I haven't, and I will tell you that even with the stress that I have going on in my life and all these child traffickers and all the bullshit that I have to, and them breaking into my house and stuff like that, all of that, I'm I can't say that my life is just a misery because it's not. There are things about my life, obviously, that I would love to change, and but that's just it. They'll try anything. They throw everything at the wall to see. Exactly. Gay bars are not fun after the age of 24. Exactly. They're not fun. And I'm okay with my own company. I don't mind being alone. I don't mind going on. I'm okay. I can go into a restaurant and sit down at a table all by myself and be totally fine. It doesn't bother me. Doesn't do it. I'm okay with my own company. And they're sending me pictures of my. They obviously got. They took a picture of my yearbook, high school yearbook when I was 13. Doug Mesner's running with that. This whole child trafficking thing, like I said, Thomas saying that he had the high ground. It makes me want to frickin' puke, you know? And, well, there's a lot of differences between us, but the whole thing about it is that I'm not the one who's ingratiated myself with a bunch of kids. That's them. They're the ones on all of the platforms for kids. They're the ones who are just going after it. I'm not in the schools with the little satanic after school daycare. I'm not doing any of that. Obviously, they are. And then trying to push it off onto me, like, that's why I basically, when I replied to Andy Villa right before I came on here, I said, calling me a pedophile only is upsetting if I was a pedophile, but I'm not a pedophile. So it doesn't, like I said, call me a purple spotted unicorn. It's about the same thing. I'm not a purple spotted unicorn. I'm hoping all of you are sitting down because I know it comes as a shock because I'm sure you guys were all convinced that I was a purple spotted unicorn. It's like people calling me short, because I'm not short. I'm tall. I'm not always the tallest, but a lot of times, I'm, but that's why I titled this live the way I did, because this group of child traffickers make it so hard on people who are trying to expose it. So they just transfer all of their shit. You want to know what, Thomas? I'm not a felon. Never been in prison, But you have the moral high ground, The fact that my sheriff, Neil Gross, is willing to protect and defend this group is just bizarre to me. And that's that Robert Carlson, oh, we're going to put you in jail. Well, don't I have to commit a crime to be put in jail? Isn't that how that works? That's that's actually a good thing about having PTSD is it's kept me on the straight and narrow. Because if I had to worry about the cops breaking in my door and arresting me at any amount of time, you know, it would drive me so crazy that I would be one of those people walking around naked in downtown muttering to myself. You know, that's not going to happen. It's kept me on the straight and narrow, let alone my faith, you know. And that's the other thing is that Thomas talks about my faith like they're going to just trash my faith. You know, Doug Mesner trashing my faith. He doesn't even know what he is. You know, he sets up the Satanic Temple, then tells everyone he's an atheist. He has how many names? You know, he not a whole lot of self-awareness there, you know, and I have no interest in doing weird stuff. It would be very difficult for me because God has a hand on my life in such a way that God doesn't play with me. If I was doing stupid crap, God would smite me. And then they can do whatever they want. Exactly. Never trusted him. They believe that they're legion. So they have all of these names. That's the reason why they find me so easy, because I don't have a bunch of different names. You know, I don't have a bunch of accounts that are fake names, all of that. Who can keep up with that? You know, I have a hard enough time keeping up with being David Schurter and all the stuff that I have to deal with being David Schurter. You know, had someone yesterday in town actually bought my book. And I had to tell them, okay, now just realize this was published in 2012. And I'm a very different person now than what I was back then. And because we all evolve, we all grow. And, well, hopefully, some don't. These pieces of crap that I have to deal with, I don't think they have changed one iota. They're comfortable being the pieces of shit that they are, so they'll never change. Because they're so busy telling themselves that they're so superior to everyone and how amazing they are and how superior they are to everyone around them. And I know myself. To think that I am superior over anybody is delusional. You know, I ain't going to be walking on water anytime soon. You know, I'm not all that in a bag of chips. I can be on some days. It's like my hair. Sometimes I have good hair days. Sometimes I have bad hair days. That's what ends up happening. And when I'm really stressed out, I stay home because I can be a dick when I'm out and about. I'll say things and not even realize that I'm being a bit harsh and stuff like that. And so that's how they roll over our estates. I don't have much of an estate. I have a house, you know, not gonna be rich. None of the stuff in my house. You can sell it all. You ain't gonna get rich. I'm not a rich man. But God always makes sure that I have enough. If my life depended on good hair, I'd be in trouble. Amen to that. You know, amen to that. I rarely have good hair days. So that's what hats are for. You know, that's how I look at it. That's what hats are for. I I just think that God has me in this situation for a reason. And I think that heaven knows that I will never stop fighting. I will never stop trying to expose. They are not going to make me afraid of them because I'm not afraid of them. You know, that's the whole thing is that I'm not afraid of them. And they want to present themselves as they're the power, they're the ones in control. And I don't believe that. I believe that heaven is in control, and heaven is definitely the power. And I think they're delusional. And I think children deserve better. And all of their lies, because they all have these fake ass accounts. They've been in, a bunch of them have been in and out of jail. You know, I'm so glad that I found out that I can block them and now they don't even mention it, because there was a game going on with Thomas and Tara Joyce. They're working in league with each other. They act like they're controlled opposite. They're opposing each other, but they're not. It's controlled opposition. That's what it is. They're working in league with each other. And when people find themselves in this group, they drive survivors and advocates and all of that. It ends up scaring them, because they do this weird shock and awe thing with the emails and breaking into people's houses. They want you to be afraid of them. I can't stop them from doing what they're doing, but I also am not afraid of them. You know, even if they showed up in my house and were right in front of me in my own house, I still wouldn't be afraid. You know, heaven, whatever is going to happen because God wills it. And that's how I feel. So whatever situation I get, I just have to deal with that situation as it is. That's the issue that I have, is that I start overthinking things, and then I start worrying about things that haven't happened yet, that may never happen. Dude, I mean, I can't be the only one. Get all stressed out about things that haven't happened. You generally never happen. And yet I can get myself in a tizzy just worrying about, oh my God, you know? And I think that, Michael, when we go through that, I think that we are instruments of heaven. And I think that when people are bearing false witness on us and stealing our shit and doing all kinds of stuff, we are God's emissary, and they're being tested. And they're failing, but they're being tested. And don't suffer twice. Good advice, because I get worried about things in the sun, you know, and that's just it. Worrying about things that haven't happened and may never happen. But especially as survivors, you know, we're always waiting for at least I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And, you know, it doesn't happen a lot of times, you know? And I think that's why God is just like, you know, go do something else other than worrying, you know? And because I'm a worrier. I can worry. I stress. And take things way too personally. Sometimes when you're out and about and someone's a dick to you, it's easy to take that personally, but you don't know if they're having a bad day. You don't know what's going on in their lives. And chances are, yeah, they were a dick to you, but they're not even thinking about you because they have their own shit in their mind. Put it back as yourself individually. Are you emotionally invested in going after strangers? You know, that's the reason why. Good example. My sister, I won't even let her be in a car with, well, we don't talk at all now because this whole situation with Owen and all of that. But years and years and years and years ago, we were in a car, I was driving, and someone cut me off, and my sister has road rage in a way that I cannot even begin to describe to you. And she started flipping out. And I told her, you know, watch. So I made her watch that guy. After he cut me off, we watched him probably cut off 5 other people. I said, so you're taking all of this personally, like it was meant. He cut me off because he was personally focused on me, but he was doing it to everybody. So why would I take any of that personally? And it's just, you can't take it personally a lot of times because people are so focused on themselves, they ain't thinking about you. And yeah, they can be a dick to you, and they're being they can be a bitch to you, but chances are everyone that comes on in their path they're going to be a bitch to. So taking it personally, like it was meant for you personally and only you, you know, when you have seen the horror in the shadows, it's hard to remember the benefit of the doubt. Amen to that. Amen to that, Sarah. It is hard to remember that there's another side and that things are not all bad. And when we grow, the way we grew up as kids, because obviously I'm not the only survivor in all of this, because of our experiences of what we went through as a kid, it's easy to let yourself become jaded and to just, again, it's that whole all or nothing. It's all bad. And it's not all bad. It's never an all or nothing type situation. It's a kaleidoscope. Not only is it color, gray, it's a kaleidoscope. There's a zillion colors to it. And so she was not being defensive of me. She was not being defensive of me. She was just like that. My sister doesn't even like me, wants to be around me, but that's because she wants to be mean to me. And I finally got to the point where I used to get mad because I told her, you're going to be screaming at someone and they're going to get out of the car, but they're not going to come at you. They're going to come at me because I'm the dude. And I'm not getting into a fight because you can't keep your mouth shut because you're, I just don't do it anymore. But I'm glad that whole situation is over with now. It's a relief, The fact that she defended our stepmother says it all. She convinced me that our stepmother was dead. That when I found out that our stepmother was so not dead, it was the last straw for me. The fact that anyone would defend that woman, knowing what that woman was capable of and what she was doing with our dad. And, that's the other thing is that I'm pretty sure that this Robert Carlson is also Doug Mesner. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. Because he tells me all the time, your dad was a great man. Never met him at all. Didn't have a fucking clue who he was. But just going to go on and on and on. That's the reason why I figured that Robert Carlson is Doug Mesner, because the arguments that he has are the same arguments that I've dealt with Doug for years. For years. Same shit. And not interested. Not interested. The fact that Thomas and Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, are working hand in hand and arguing the same shit, they're a bunch of goddamn child traffickers. Thomas will never have, yeah, Katie, Robert Carlson's email. They're always disturbing. It's Doug Mesner because he doesn't want me to know, because I've dealt with that idiot for so long that when he writes just normal, I can tell it's him. Because we all have our writing style. It's like if you gave something, I'll just, like William Faulkner. If you handed me something that William Faulkner wrote, but didn't tell me that it was William Faulkner, chances are I could probably eventually guess that it was William Faulkner. because the way we write, the way we talk is almost like our fingerprints. It's a very individual type thing. And so we all have our own way. And it's just Doug trying to, you know, it's just threatening. And it's all those underlying threats. It's all those underlying threats. But Katie, if anything ever gets too much or you feel like I'm inundating you, you can always tell me. And that's for all of you because there's email lists that I have because I let everyone know now. This is what's going on. This is what I'm getting sent. So people can actually see it for themselves. And, but if it ever gets too much, do not feel like you can't say, hey, can you just not send, you know, because I know that it's intense, you know. But I want people to know so that people, because it's hard to explain. It's hard to adequately explain how weird all of this stuff actually is. Because it's weird. Their stuff is weird. And Robert Carlson is weird. But it's Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. You know, they all have these fake ass accounts, and Thomas is all, his panties are in a whirl because Neil Gross is not going to choose this group of child killers over his own kids. He's not. It's a different experience. I can't adequately explain. As you're now starting to see, Katie, I cannot adequately explain in a way that people understand how bizarre their shit really is. You have to see it for yourselves. You have to see it for yourself. And now I just send it out to everybody. And the email list just keeps adding because I send it to investigators and reporters and police. And now I'm just normal people. I just send it out so that people can see what I'm going through because it's hard to understand. It's hard to comprehend how bizarre this stuff, but this is what they do to frighten people. They do this to frighten people, and it frightens most people. Me, it just irritates me, you know? It ends up pissing me off, as you can tell. And I can hold my own generally in these conversations because the stuff that they say is just so bizarre and so out there. And they don't even see it. That's the weird thing about it. They don't realize what absolute freaks they are. They don't see it. It's bizarre, you know? But it's meant to frighten people. It's meant to scare people. It doesn't scare me. I've been at this for so long, it doesn't scare me, you know? And they're always full of threats. They're always, oh, I'm going to do this to you, or I'm going to do that. Hey, Saki. Nice hair. I conditioned it today. That's probably why. I put conditioner in it every day. Otherwise, it gets to be fly away. And with it being so dry, the air being so dry, my skin, but their directed energy weapon bullshit is off the charts. It's just off the charts. And it's been bad. That last night, perfect example. I woke up at 3:00 in the morning and I think I scared my dogs because they were sound asleep. And I woke up and it was what they were doing to me made my head hurt so bad that I just spoke out loud. And that's what scared him. It was just like, God, just let him take me out already. Do I really have to continue going through this? Not that I want to. I certainly don't want anything to happen to me, but oh my God, you can only be tortured for so long and so hard before you just start thinking, oh, would you just let him succeed already? There are a bunch of damn ninnies who they're just, they have failed in coming after me over and over and over and over and over. And I still just have to go through it. That's a throwback. They are ninnies, though, you know? Just dumbasses. And, and they're child traffickers. That's what the frustrating part about it is that they're a bunch of idiots that are making my life hell, and they couldn't think themselves out of a wet paper bag. Very entitled, very entitled. And I have all of them in here right now. One is at my feet, one is here. They're just, when I do these lives, I was given permission, and so I don't know when it's going to happen, but one of these lives that I do, I'm going to actually do it at the quilt shop in town because there's a room where people sew. And so I think I'm going to actually do a live one of these days where I can lay stuff out and show everybody some of the stages and actually have some stuff. Hey, Kristen, I have gotten your emails. And so I'm going to lay it out and then show people kind of the artwork and stuff that I do. Because this constantly focusing on these child traffickers, it's not like I'm going to go away from this stuff. I'll stay on here for another 20, 30 minutes because this was a nothing. I'm not really probably going to even share this live because I've been all over the place and really haven't talked about anything. The only thing that I want to reiterate more than anything is I'm not into self-harm. I will never do anything. If anything happens to me, it's the same thing with Isaac Cappy. But when he said that he wasn't suicidal and if anything happened to him, he didn't do it to himself, and then the very next day, and the Dead Isaac Cappy Club wants everyone to think, oh, he woke up and the sun was in a different position, or, something amazingly happened to shove him over the edge, No. Oh, yeah, there was something that threw him over the edge. It's called murder, The group murdered him. That's how it worked, I tell you what, Sarah, let me pray one last time if you want, because then I probably will get off here soon. I want to, but I'll pray. That way you can go to work with a prayer. Heaven, we come back to you. I'm really grateful that we all are able to get together and support each other and remind each other that we're all here for a purpose, and that is to serve you. You do not serve us, we serve you. And I will tell you from my own personal experiences, it is so much better to serve in heaven than ever reign in hell or anywhere else. And we come to you as your servants, as your children. And we thank you for the opportunities and the grace that you bestow upon all of us. And even though sometimes it is hard to see that, and it's hard to actually grasp it, we are grateful that you at least give us the opportunity, and we at least always have the chance. Keep us focused. Keep our hearts full of love. Help us to help others fill their hearts with love. You sent your son, our brother Jesus Christ, to teach us the word, and we are grateful. And we thank you. And we say these things lovingly in your son, our brother's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. There you go. You had a prayer to go to work with. I'm being driven crazy. I think there are some that want to go outside. Because it's not 30 below right now. The fact that it's 14, 15 degrees, they want to go, quit. They want to go outside because it's a heat wave. Being 15 degrees outside now. Anytime. I love to pray. I pray all the time. And so with that said, I am going to get off here. I hate to do this, but I will be back in on Sunday. I plan on coming and doing one on Sunday. And tomorrow will be even better, and Monday. Thank you. I love you guys too. You know, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that heaven told me to open up comments. Talking about Isaac Cappy is a double-edged sword. But the fact that I opened up comments and actually started to be able to engage with people, it has really done something for me, opened my heart. It's been great because I don't feel like I'm alone in this anymore. For years and years, I was doing this and felt like I was alone. And I don't feel like I'm alone in any of this anymore. I feel that there's a whole slew of people. And yes, the Dead Isaac Cappy Club and all these child traffickers can tell me how all of you who are in here are big ass losers and just, you know, I don't get that. And I'm pretty discerning. But I think they're losers. And I think that the people who follow them and watch them and are all into their crap could do something better with their lives. I guess that's the way I want to phrase it. I don't have a whole lot of respect for it. And so, or them. Imagine that. I don't have respect for child traffickers. Oh, that's just it. You can find all kinds of stuff. He stalks people, but now he can't. Because I don't know if you were in here, Saki, when I said I found out that when I go into the mentions, I can block people on the mentions and all of their mentions go away and they can't get a hold of me on YouTube anymore. And so it has been amazing. That has been great. The last 2 days, I go in and look at my mentions and it says, you have got any mentions. You don't have any mentions now. It's completely blank. And it is just bliss. It is bliss. Because this group just goes out of their way to try and create chaos, you know? And I get tired of it, you know? Yeah, I won't block you. If you want to mention me, go ahead. You guys can mention me. If it's nice stuff, I'm fine, but the mentions were awful. Every time I went in there, it just kind of irritated me. It's like waking up in the middle of the night and having that Carlson idiot, that Robert Carlson idiot. And his emails are bizarre. Again, I think it's Lucian Greaves. They're trying to do anything they can to shut me up. I think they're doing anything they can to shut me up. And the police are obviously focused on me because I was looking at my Ring camera this morning and one of the sheriffs pulled into the driveway to turn around, but they pulled into my driveway to turn around. And so I just find it interesting. I don't think that Neil Gross is going to choose the child traffickers over his own kids. And I know that Neil Gross knows that I'm not just talking out my butt when I warn him that heaven you have a choice. You will either choose these child traffickers or you will choose your own children. And each either choice has consequences, but let me tell you, I you know, whoa, a gas station is here, you're famous. Oh, I so don't want to be famous. To go everywhere where everyone knows your name just is not. As it is, I have people out and about who actually see these videos. I had someone working at a store and I went in and they're like, I know who you are. I've watched your videos on YouTube. And for me, that it ends up making my stomach, I feel like I have a pit in the bottom of my stomach because I never know exactly how it's going to go. Some people really like it. I'm actually, when people tell me that they've watched my videos, it's never a bad thing. But, because I figure if they didn't like me, they wouldn't even acknowledge, they wouldn't. Fame is never, I wouldn't mind the money, you know? I wouldn't mind having money because I'm broke, you know? I'm always broke. But I'm tired of bitching about it, and I realize you guys are all broke too, probably. And so it's not like I'm in the boat alone. I stress out about money. Last night I was stressing out about money. Just, it's funny how money worries can make a person sick to their stomach. So I had to actually get out of bed and walk around and force myself to think about something else. And, oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. I have one at mine, They had 1 pound things of hamburger for $2.29 at Hy-Vee the other day. And so I spent the rest of my money and bought 5. Hamburger is something. That is Doug Mesner. That Omni Eris is Lucian Greaves. I've dealt with that account over and over and over for years. I've been feeling that YouTube is starting to have, because their stuff is demeaning. Their stuff is just terrible. And, it's just amazing what they can post and it'd be okay. But I have a feeling that Doug is trying, because Doug is now being investigated, because I would be willing to bet that people are now starting to actually look at that satanic after-school daycare bullshit. And when they do, they're going to find that there's major issues with the people involved in it. They have no business being around kids. None. And what I do because I care about kids. I care about mankind. I do. You guys are, it's Lucian Greaves. You must have done something to piss him off. What, did you call him out? Did you tell the truth? He doesn't like that. He doesn't like it when people tell the truth. He doesn't like it when people don't crawl up his ass. Neither does Thomas. None of them do. They all want, and they all work as a collective. So if you have one of them reach out, just realize that they all come as a whole group because they're all controlled opposition. Perfect example, the whole thing with Thomas and Tara Joyce. That's the reason why I was so glad that I found out that I could block all of them. That I could block all of them. And so because now there's none of that, switching around. Oh, I need help spring cleaning. I need to clean my house. I need to clean my house. It gets dusty with dogs. They come in from the outside and it is dogs. Hey, Sharon, I'll probably go on. I tell you what, I'll stay on another 15 minutes because this is kind of a nothing. It's just kind of a fun live. I just wanted to come on here because, like I said, I want to do about 3 of these a week now. And not all of the stuff can be focused on. And that's why I said I'm going to end up doing one of these lives where I'm going to go to a place in town and then I'm going to lay out fabric and show people kind of, the stages of quilting. I'll do some of the stuff. And that way I can show people, because quilting is kind of a fun thing and it's easy. And especially if you're a survivor, that needle going up and down is just relaxing. And I think that doing stuff like that would be a lot more interesting than talking about these child killers all the time. I'm sick of them. And I'm sick of their emails. I'm just sick of their emails. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of the constant harassment. Thomas is just like, well, I've never threatened you. Dude, you threaten me all the time. Oh, you're going to take my account down. You're going to take me to court. But you don't have to do the weird ass threats because all the people that are working with you, they send me all kinds of shit. I don't believe Aquino is dead. He supposedly killed himself twice. He killed himself in 2019. And then it was 2023, maybe it was just last year, 2024. They said he did it again. So he kills himself and then his Luciferian powers, he was able to resurrect himself. And then 3 years later, he figured he made the right choice the last time and kills himself again. Their shit is so stupid and so blatant and in people's faces so much. And I think that that's done on purpose because people think, well, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It couldn't possibly be true. And that's what ends up happening. Then you end up dismissing their shit because of the weird ass stupid shit that they do that doesn't even make any sense. And I don't believe he's dead. I don't believe he's dead. I believe he's hiding, is what I believe. I believe he's hiding. I've gotten to the point, Saki, where lately I've just been forwarding them because taking screenshots and doing all that work is just a pain in my ass. But sometimes there are so many emails that I can't just forward every one of them because you'll be inundated like I am. But it takes a lot of phone memory. And I end up transferring the stuff off and I put it in emails and in other places so I can get it off my phone. And a lot of this stuff is just nonsense. The fact that I had to fight over whether or not I'm gay or not, whether or not I'm Jewish or not. I'm not Jewish. I'm kind of proud that I have Jewish heritage. I kind of like it, but I've never been Jewish. Couldn't tell you anything. Never read the Torah. I've read the Quran, never read the Torah. So if I'm Jewish, I'm a really bad Jewish person. Don't know anything about it. Never been in a synagogue other than to deliver food for my nephew's bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah, do girls have bar mitzvahs? I don't know. Again, because I'm not Jewish. And so, But the fact that I have to argue this and it's just stupid shit. But let me tell you that Tom is trying to tell me that he has the moral high ground always makes me want to vomit a little bit up in my mouth. The felon wants to make, I think it is just boys too, a rite of adulthood. I think it is just boys. Bat mitzvah for girls. Okay. Again, I'm not Jewish, so don't have any problems with Jewish people. Love to hang out with Jewish people, especially old Jewish guys. Very bright. And I have a group of people that I know that they're Jewish men, and it's fun to talk to them because everyone's talking all at once, and yet we're all listening. I love to be able to be in a situation like that where there's several conversations going on, and I get to focus on all of the conversations all at once, and then contribute. I just love that. I love dialogue. I love to listen to people's ideas. That's how I learn, is people have different ideas other than mine. And I like that. I like that. But and the only reason why I figured that it was Doug in my last live coming and saying, well, Doug's never been convicted of anything. No, because he's been protected. His mommy's money, and he's protected and shouldn't be. Needs to be investigated because he's a really bad dude. Really, really, really bad dude. I actually think that he's at Shelley's Mouse account saying that he was Lori King's boyfriend. Because Lori King didn't have a boyfriend. Asked a few survivors who knew her. They didn't know about any boyfriend. So a boyfriend comes out of nowhere and now wants to say, oh, and it's the same arguments that Doug has. Oh, if you talk about the child trafficking, then you're just caught up in the child trafficking. And street knowledge and book knowledge is good, great, Sharon. It would be fun to talk. you know, and you don't have to. College is expensive. I have a lot of college education. I went to college. I was, I guess, what they would have called me as a professional student because I went to school for a long time. I went to college for a long time. But it didn't do me because I was disabled. So I knew I was never going to go work for the man. But I learned a lot of cool stuff in college. A lot of cool stuff. But street knowledge, knowing people, and all of that, that's also, I've met people who never went to college, but I looked at them as they were brilliant. They knew a lot. And I think that the key thing is that college used to be focused on teaching you how to think. And now it's not. It's just, you know, some some smart people are really dumb. Some people, some of the most educated people are some of the most ignorant people because they think they know it all. And that's the issue. When you get so caught up in your own ego that you think that you know everything, you do yourself a real disservice because you can learn some of the most key things in life from people who never, maybe not even graduated high school. You know, everyone has something to teach. You can learn from everyone if you just allow yourself to. And don't be an elitist. Don't, because everyone has something to teach. We all have something to share. And I can steal your shirt from you and then sell it back to you at the same time. But I don't do bad things anymore. The change in your life is, learn from the things that you do and then just don't do that anymore. You know, that's what growing and changing and as far as like victims and sometimes life, we get jaded. And I just find that that's the reason why I'll associate with people who, you know, there's an older woman in town. She's known, she steals all the time. She's a shoplifter. And people get upset with me. They don't understand why I associate with her. And the reason why I associate with her is because it's like Jesus Christ. That's the reason why he hung out with people. Why would you hang out with those people? Well, because they need to have that, they need to be able to be exposed to stuff so that maybe they can choose something different and go a separate way. You know, I do have lines in the sand that I draw though. If you're trafficking kids, there's no hope for you. If you're a pedophile, there's no hope for you. I'm sorry, but that's how I look at it. You know, I just don't have the patience. I don't. And because I've had to deal with this group of murdering child killers, I have so little patience. I have no patience for it. And I'm quite judgmental about it. I'm harshly. I just don't want to fool around with it. You know what I'm saying? But with that said, I'm at an hour and 27 minutes. This has been a lot of fun, you guys. Thank you so much for coming on here and engaging. I love it when I'm just not ranting and raving. I don't think I yelled even once today. And I'm really trying. When I'm out and about, I don't, I rarely swear out and about. It was nice to see you too, Saki. It's hard to talk on the phone because I've started to realize that I can't be around kids. And the reason why I can't be around kids is because the noise, especially in person, the activity in my peripheral vision triggers my post traumatic stress disorder, something fierce. And yelling and noise and all of that ends up just causing me a ton of stress. That's the reason why it's funny because they'll tell everyone that they can that I'm a pedophile, but anybody who knows me knows I'll go out of my way every time to avoid kids because it just stresses me out. The activity, and I don't know what to say to kids. You know, what do I talk about? You know, it, but just realize that's, I can't listen to kids scream. It just drives me. And unfortunately, it triggers shit from my past. And so, if I get around it too much, I'll start having nightmares again. And I'm really kind of gun shy about putting myself in because I haven't had those nightmares for a while now, a long time. But I used to dream every night about screaming kids being tortured. And I got to the point where when that happens, I have a hard time sleeping, obviously. You know? So with that said, I know that this is probably an overkill, but I want to get off here. But if you guys don't care, I'm gonna pray one more time. Because I don't want to end this talking about murdered kids. I just don't feel like that's how I want to end this. Heaven, I come to you one last time today. Well, it won't be the last time because I am in contact with you every day, all day sometimes, a lot of times. Help us fill our hearts with love. Direct us, keep us on the path. Help us all to inspire others around us so that they can fill their hearts with love and follow on the path. Help us be better than what we are right now. Open our minds, open our hearts, open our spirits so that your grace can guide us and help us to grow and evolve. We say the love is key. The word is key. And I we're just grateful that you sent your son, our brother Jesus Christ, down to help us with the word and show show us the life that we can emulate. Bring these child traffickers down. Just bring them down. They dance around and think that they're just all that they can't be touched. Please show them otherwise. Show all of us otherwise. I know that I don't know if that's appropriate to ask for, but just I'm gonna do it anyway. And I say these things lovingly and grateful that you sent your son, our brother Jesus Christ, down. And I say all of this in his name. Amen. Okay. So I'm going to get off here. Some people do act dumb, and they're not. Those who act dumb, you have to actually watch. People think I'm an idiot because I don't say a lot of times. But just because I don't say something doesn't mean I'm not aware of something. It's just that I don't feel like, you know, sometimes it's just best to be quiet and let people do their thing. I kind of feel sorry for them sometimes because they think I'm stupid and don't realize I'm not stupid. And I think that goes for a lot of people. I think that goes for a lot of people. I think that there's a lot of people out there who, it's advantageous to be underestimated. That's how I've always found it. It's advantageous to be underestimated. That's the reason why I rarely underestimate people, because some people are not what they present themselves to be. And sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But learn to discern. I think that's a key for all of us. Learn to discern. And silence is golden. You don't have to tell everybody what's going on in your head all the time. And as survivors, that's a really hard thing to learn because we go out of our way to talk all the time. We were kind of trained to do that. Keep quiet about some things, but then other things, But with that said, I'm at an hour and 30 minutes. People don't really want to watch these when they're so long. And this has been fun today. This has been good. I plan on coming back on here Sunday. Probably Sunday afternoon. People are usually wearing down after the weekend. And, so with that said, keep me in your prayers. I'll keep all of you in my prayers. You guys have my email, so if you need to get a hold of me, you can. And we'll talk soon. Okay. Thanks, guys. This was really actually kind of pleasant. So, thank you.